Every year, hundreds of thousands of people disappear without a trace around the world. Most are found, alive or dead. But there's a special category of cases. These are stories where logic defies logic. People have vanished into thin air in the middle of the ocean, in closed train compartments, on crowded streets, and in the deep jungle. They left behind no belongings, no signs of a struggle, not a single answer. In this film, we'll take a journey through the centuries to unravel 9 of the most mysterious disappearances, all of which remain unanswered. In 1925, famed British explorer Percy Fawcett sets out into the impenetrable Amazon jungle. His goal was a lost ancient city he called City Z. Fawcett was an experienced cartographer and soldier, seasoned in the most arduous expeditions. Together with his son Jack and his friend Riley Rymel, they journeyed deep into the impenetrable forests of Brazil. Percy sent his last letter to his wife from the edge of uncharted lands. In it, he wrote that they were preparing to enter uncharted territory and asked that no rescue missions be sent if they were lost. After this, Fawcett's party seemingly vanished. Neither their remains nor personal belongings were ever found, despite dozens of subsequent search operations. It remains unknown whether they fell victim to local tribes, dangerous diseases, or drowned in the swamps. The mystery of City Z claimed the lives of not only the explorer himself, but also dozens of rescuers attempting to determine his fate. On December 5, 1945, 5 U.S. Navy bombers under the command of Lieutenant Charles Taylor took off from a base in Florida. It was a routine training flight, known as Flight 19. The weather was clear, and the crews were experienced pilots. But 2 hours after takeoff, alarming messages began coming in over the radio. Taylor reported that his compasses were out of order, and his visual references didn't match the charts. The pilots were completely disoriented over the sea, unable to locate the shore. Radio transmissions reported that the ocean looked strange and terrifying. After several hours, contact was lost completely. The rescue float plane, Martin Mariner, with 13 crew members, was dispatched to search for the missing crew. Soon, this float plane also disappeared from radar, without even having time to send a distress signal. The rescuers never found a single splinter of wood or a single oil slick on the water. In 1890, French inventor Louis Le Prince stood on the threshold of a major discovery. He created the world's first working motion picture camera and captured the first moving images years before the Lumiere brothers. Le Prince was planning to travel to New York to officially patent his invention and show it to the world. In September, he boarded a train in Dijon bound for Paris, where friends were waiting. He entered his compartment, locked the door from the inside, and set off. However, upon arrival in Paris, the compartment was empty. Louis Le Prince, his luggage, and his revolutionary plans were gone. None of the passengers or conductors had seen him disembark at any of the intermediate stations. The compartment windows were tightly closed. French and British police conducted a comprehensive investigation but found no evidence. The great inventor had vanished without a trace, one step away from worldwide recognition. In 1937, legendary aviator Emily Earhart decided to accomplish what no one else had ever accomplished: a circumnavigation of the globe, the longest route along the equator. Together with navigator Fred Noonan, she had already covered most of the journey in a twin-engine Lockheed Electra. The most difficult stage remained: the flight across the vast Pacific Ocean to tiny Howland Island. He took no documents, no compass, no cigarettes, planning to return for tea. No one saw him again. The largest search operation in Malaysian history was organized to find Thompson. Hundreds of soldiers, police, a local tribe of trackers, and even psychics combed every inch of the forest. The jungle in this area was isolated, and the terrain was clearly visible. However, the trackers couldn't find even a footprint. The disappearance of the intelligence officer and millionaire has spawned dozens of theories, from kidnapping to escape, but no one knows the truth. On Christmas Eve 1945, a devastating fire broke out in the Sauter family home in West Virginia. The parents and 4 children managed to escape the burning building, but 5 more children remained on the second floor. The father tried to save them, but the ladder was mysteriously stolen, and both of his trucks refused to start. The house burned to the ground in just 40 minutes. When firefighters finally arrived, they expected to find the remains of the dead children in the ashes. However, a detailed examination of the ruins revealed not a single bone or skeletal fragment. Experts claimed that a simple wood fire could not have completely destroyed human remains. The parents remained convinced for the rest of their lives that the fire was a cover-up and that their children had been kidnapped. Many years later, the mother received a photograph in the mail of an adult man bearing an uncanny resemblance to one of the missing sons. But the sender was never found. In December 1900, off the coast of Scotland, on the lonely island of Eilean Moor, the lighthouse went out. Passing ships reported a malfunction, and a supply vessel headed for the island. When the rescuers stepped ashore, they felt an oppressive sense of unease. The island appeared completely deserted. The lighthouse gates were closed, an untouched meal lay on the table in the living room, and the clock had stopped. 3 lighthouse keepers, Thomas Marshall, James Ducat, and Donald MacArthur, had vanished without a trace. On shore, the rescuers discovered a storm-damaged pier and bent iron rails. Meanwhile, strange entries were made in the logbook about an unseen bulge, even though weather reports on the mainland showed complete silence. The most enigmatic remained the final entry. The storm has abated. God is upon us again. How 3 experienced keepers simultaneously abandoned the safety of the lighthouse and vanished into the sea remains a mystery on the island forever. In March 2014, Malaysia Airlines Flight MH370, a modern Boeing 777 passenger jet, departed Kuala Lumpur for Beijing. There were 239 people on board. The aircraft was in perfect technical condition and flying at cruising altitude. 40 minutes after takeoff over the South China Sea, the pilot delivered a standard farewell to air traffic controllers. Seconds later, all transponders and communication systems were manually switched off. The jet abruptly changed course, climbed to a higher altitude, and flew toward the Indian Ocean. Modern satellites recorded the automatic engine signals for several more hours until the plane crashed in the uncharted depths of the ocean. Years of searches using the most advanced deep-sea robots and scanners yielded no results. This enormous modern aircraft disappeared in an era when every inch of the planet is monitored by satellites. Disappearances are a reminder of how fragile our world is and how many secrets it still holds. Perhaps technology will one day provide us with answers to these mysteries. But for now, these stories remain a constant reminder of the unknown.